You're tired of girlies just lying on social media about what the truth is for them to get slim and toned. And I don't know if you guys saw Melania Antuchas, who was a super lean girl. She came out with the truth where she was actually restricting her food. So here I am going to tell you the truth about being slim and lean. If it is genuinely something you want, I'm not saying that you need to restrict yourself. There definitely is a way to get to a certain point healthfully, but there are definitely a few sacrifices you need to make. Hi my loves, I'm Sivan. You can also call me Sivy. I've lost 40 pounds with hypothyroidism. I actually don't count my calories, and I've learned to get to my slimmest and leanest by doing things like this. At the end of the day, this is a real video, and if you are offended easily, you might want to click out of this video, because at the end of the day, I'm going to say the things that are on my mind, and if you can't handle that, it's not my fault. I'm not going to be fighting with you in the comments. Anyways, let's get started. The first one is probably going to be the most controversial one, but it is that I stopped hanging out as often with people who overindulge. Unfortunately, who you hang out can definitely cause your results to be hindered. I honestly started hanging out more with people that don't revolve their whole life around food or being very inactive, and started revolving my life around people that will make you grow. This goes into anything in life, specifically for your goals. When it comes to looking slimmer, you might want to hang around or hang less with people that tend to overindulge and have a lot of sugar and eat a lot of food and just do things that back then we used to joke around being a big back, if that makes sense. So basically, think about the people that you want to be like, and then think about the comments that people say, oh, and then I'm over here eating hot Cheetos and laying in bed and not showering and whatever and making it a joke. Those are the people you honestly kind of want to stay away from. And there's not like an issue with doing things like that, but it's the fact that you can compare one person that is very committed, tries to take care of themselves a little more often, to the other people who kind of don't do anything about themselves, getting healthier or anything, and they kind of just try to sound relatable and feel better about them just sitting there and being a little lazy F. Hang around people that love to go to Pilates for fun, love to go on walks for fun. Yes, you can get a matcha. It doesn't have to be a whole breakfast. Like things like that, where not everything revolves around food, is a great example of ways that can help you find other things to focus on other than food. Number two, I'm not sure if I talked about this in the other ones, but you cannot outwork a bad diet. And at the end of the day, if you want to be above average, you need to do above average things. You cannot exercise every single day and still have your diet be like shit, because all that's going to do is honestly make you build more muscle, not lose your fat. So in the end, you're just going to look either skinny fat or fluffier. If you're constantly snacking, if you're constantly doing things like that, and you're not constantly exercising more than once a day, which I'm not recommending you do that, then it just does not equate. At the end of the day, it is 80-20. So think about what 80% good looks like and what 20% overindulging looks like, because at the end of the day, we have 7 days a week. We do not have 10 days a week. Your weekend is actually more than 20% of your week. So don't think that having Monday through Friday is 80% and then Saturday and Sunday are 20%. Unfortunately, no. Think of it as every single day you try your best. Do every single day. Yes, you can overindulge, but I would highly suggest doing what is number 3. It is strategizing your weeks or days. Now, I do not want you to get into some kind of binge restrict cycle where you don't eat all day and then you binge at night because you knew you were going to binge at night, or you knew you were going to eat a lot at night, so you saved all your calories, because all that's going to do is make you not learn your hunger cues. And if you don't learn your hunger cues anymore, you're not actually going to be fueling your body when it's needed, and you're going to end up gaining weight. So instead, I want you to be very smart about this, and this is how I've been able to intuitively eat but also be mindful about it, which is basically, if you are going to be going out drinking, you are going to have pasta, you're going to have things that you know hinder your results at night, I want you to subtract that during the day or during the past few days until leading up to that. And I don't want you to fully restrict, but I do want you to cut it down just a little bit more. For example, if you are having a bunch of sugar, a bunch of carbs, carbs, pizza, ice cream, all of this stuff one night that is just like a buffet of food, then during the day I highly suggest that you cut down on the carbs and the sugar and you eat mainly just protein and fiber. And I'm not telling you to purposely do anything. I'm not forcing you to do anything, but this is what a lot of creators are doing. A lot of creators will show like if they're having a bunch of food, but it's actually just high volume, low calorie foods. And I'm not saying you should do high volume, low calorie foods either too often, because at the end of the day, you need to learn how to portion control, because when you don't have those high volume, low calorie foods available to you, you're still going to end up eating high volume food, but high calorie food too. So you just did not prove yourself at all here. That is why I really do not suggest that you do any kind of fad diet before going on vacation, because you're not learning anything from that. At the end of the day, this is a lifestyle choice. And if you genuinely want to be comfortable and also look your best, like what's the point of looking your best if you don't feel your best too? You know, you could look your best, but honestly, that does not always mean you feel your best too. So the strategy here is to live like the person you want to look like in a more comfortable way. A lot of these slim people that you see are not actually eating as much as you think. They might be eating what they want, but they are portion controlling to the T. I actually had a little study strategy moment here where I had two people that I look up to, that I'm pretty close to. I had them send me their what I eat in a days for a few days. And I actually did this for this video, and what their answers were pretty insane. I'm not saying for you to eat this little, especially if you're going to be exercising like this, and it's not always the healthiest, but they are not eating as much as you think, even though they said they eat a lot. I had one girl who, she doesn't even do this on purpose. She's just naturally like this. She's been slim her whole life. She maybe has one whole Chipotle bowl and a matcha in one day. And I'm not telling you to do this, but I'm just telling you so you can open your eyes and see that there are people who are naturally like this. Like, it's not genetic where they can eat as much as they want and then stay slim. It's that they're genuinely not eating as much as you think. The other girl that I talked about, she did have 3 meals in her day. She exercised maybe 2 workouts a day, but what she had was anything she wanted, and it was not that much. For example, her breakfast was a Coke and a Lunchables, okay? That was her breakfast. Her lunch was, I think, like 1 roll of sushi and some boba tea. Not even boba tea. It was like sugar-free peach green tea, something like that. And then her dinner was like another roll of sushi and another Coke. And you would say, okay, that's not too bad, but if you add up everything, that's maybe 1,400 calories. Like, that's what I'm talking about, is like, people are not eating as much as you think. And I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just trying to open your eyes that people naturally, who are slim, naturally have these tendencies, and that's what we're trying to get to here. We're not trying to cut to the chase. I would suggest that you start portion controlling for your body. And this is where number 4 comes in, where discipline does not equate obsession. I don't want you to obsess over this. Make it as simple as possible and just be disciplined and not overindulging is the whole point I'm trying to get to here. Stop right before your brain triggers you and says, oh, I'm about to get full. That's when you stop, not when you are about to get full. Like, you stop right there before you take those next bites. There is going to be a lot of times that you have to say no if you think it's going to hinder how you feel. And I do not want you to revolve your whole life around this, because I don't. But there are times you need to think physically, how do I feel health-wise? If your body is not craving for that social life, craving for that night out where you're going to have a hangover the next day, do not do it. Think about it. Is it worth it? At the end of the day, this has a lot to do with health and a lot to do with intuition with your body. At the end of the day, you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to stay consistent every single day, every single week, every single year, and you will just get better and better at it over time. I promise you, it's more simple than you think. It's just a matter of exercising to feel good every single day that you can, and portion controlling no matter what the meal is, and sleeping a little bit better. right? That's really all it is. As long as you work on that every single day and work on your health, you should not have any problem here. And just be accountable with yourself. You can say you're doing everything, but how long were you doing everything for, you know? Other than that, leave me a little comment, a little like, a little subscribe if you like this. Let me know what other kind of videos you want to do. I love doing ones like this because I can just talk nonstop about it. Other than that, you guys have a great rest of your night or day.